I'm Emma, a certified dog trainer.
And I'm Kirsten, a certified dog behavior consultant.
And this is Dog Chats. Join us as we chat about dog behavior, having fun with your dogs, and building relationships. We will offer practical advice and a bit of humor. Hi everyone, welcome to Season 2, Episode 2. We have decided we're going to put seasons in our podcast. So
Getting organized.
Very organized. So this is Season 2, Episode 2. Today we are going to be talking about something that's really important, and that is disaster preparedness for our dogs. With stuff that's been going on here in California with wildfires and on the East Coast with hurricanes and floods, and we could have an earthquake at any stage too. So just being ready for that, whether it's to evacuate from your home or even to shelter in place, just having a plan in place can make all the difference for you and your dog. My little guy is squeaking a toy in the background here. So we're going to go over some tips that we've gathered and done some research on, and hopefully this will help you get ready and help us too, because we found that we're not ready if we look at what we've got in our kits right now.
No, not only am I not ready, I had a kit, but I've disassembled it all. But I can't even, this is a hard topic for me to even talk about. I shared with them, every time I would schedule a podcast planning meeting, for some reason Kirsten kept putting it on the back burner. And I think that procrastination is anxiety, right?
Of course
if I don't think
We
about it, nothing bad's going to happen. But so much better to have a plan in place just in case.
We do have now more wildfires here. We do have the possibility of earthquakes. We are told as Californians to have water and food stored anyway. So we're just getting into that. This might be a lot of stuff you have in your house anyway, but just gathering it together.
Yeah, just
getting organized. We don't want to make anybody feel like that it's overwhelming. We're just going to make it nice and easy, a nice list to get together. You can always refer back to this. We'll give some references where you can find stuff and what to do and all of that as well.
Yeah,
so
that'll all be in the show notes too.
Yes,
links.
Yeah. The first thing we're going to talk about is just an emergency kit.
It should be a really cute bag.
And backpack. Did you say backpack?
I said backpack. That's what my neighbor mentioned. Just because you're carrying the pets, you can't carry another bag. So.
Yeah, and you have all your other stuff that you have for yourself as well. So having a backpack for the dog or cat or any animal you have in the house, that's always a good thing. One of the things is food and water, right? Enough for, they say, 7 to 10 days.
Yeah.
Right, and that depends obviously on what's going on, but because there is lots of resources we'll talk about on the outside that can help as well. But if you were to shelter in your home for 7 to 10 days, having food and water for us too. So you have to think about enough water for both your animals and your family.
So true.
And they are your family.
Yeah. The human family.
The human family.
Another great tip my neighbor gave me was canned food. Because it's already got the water in it for the pets.
Oh, that's a good idea.
It lasts longer than the kibble. Once you open that bag of kibble, it's got a shelf life.
This is true.
So I thought that was a good tip. It's heavier, but especially for our cats.
Yeah. And then talking about the food, just a bowl, like one of those foldable bowls that you can just use as well when you're out there. Medications was the next thing we saw.
Yeah.
And so that's always good. I don't know if that's one of those things, like, would you have extra medication in a backpack that's away? Is that realistic?
It's such a good idea, though.
It's a great idea, but then are you asking your vet for an extra supply to put in there?
I think you should.
That's something to check with your vet.
I imagine my 2 dogs are on anti-anxiety meds. We end up at a shelter, and then they don't get their anxiety meds. That would be rough.
That would be rough. Really thinking about what medications and medical records, like we've got everything on our phones now.
Do you? I don't have my
babies. I take photos. So that's another good thing is just to take photos of your medical records.
Because I know a lot of the evacuation places require that.
You might need to show some vaccination, and if your vet is in the neighborhood and they've had to evacuate too, there's a good chance that they may not have the records available. Just take a photo of that.
Great idea.
And we saw it too, is just take a photo of your dog, and I know that's not a hard thing because we all probably have. I look at my phone and all it is of dogs.
I know, my poor girls, my human girls. I have to scroll through to find photos of them to show people. But yeah, in case anybody's missing, hate to even think about it.
I know, hate to think about that. And that's always a great reminder to why you keep collars and tags on your dogs, because if anything was to happen,
You're looking at me.
I'm not. Sometimes I take the collars off my dogs too. I'm scratching their necks, and then I may not pop them on there. But if I'm going away and somebody's dog sitting, those collars are always on them. But I don't think about that if something happened and you weren't at home. Um, and sidetracking a little bit about that, if you weren't home, always good to have the tags and the collars on.
Yeah.
But I recently got, because I had a little visit to pet emergency with my little guy,
Mhm.
they had one of those stickers on the counter that said to say how many dogs, animals you have in the house, and you just stick it on the front,
Oh, yeah.
which is a nice thing too, that if somebody had to come into your house,
Oh, you meant the front window.
the front window,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was still thinking about the collar, sorry.
So that they know there's animals in there, so if they had to get them out, they would.
Oh, absolutely.
Back to the kit. Sorry,
Okay.
I went off
So,
on another.
and I wanted the microchip thing.
Yes.
It's I'm bad because my littles often aren't wearing collars in the house, and I always think, okay, at least they're microchipped. But in that kind of situation, if somebody's just finding a dog who's not wearing a collar, they're going to
Yes.
end up getting taken to the shelter. So even though they're microchipped, I need to be better about them wearing their tags.
Yeah, and make sure your microchip is registered, because there's some stuff going on now with some brands of the microchip. I don't know whether they went out of business or what the situation
Wow.
was, but just make sure that the tag you have is
Oh
registered.
gosh.
The shelters usually have scanners for all of them, but just in case.
One more thing to worry about.
I know we're trying to make this an easy conversation, but
Yeah.
it is one that might make you feel a little like maybe I'll listen to the rest of this later.
Yeah, you could do it in
but,
small
but
dosage.
but we'll keep it light. A first aid kit
Hmm.
and manual. I bring a manual when I go camping. I always bring my first aid manual with me,
That's so smart.
as well as the first aid kit.
Yeah.
Because there might be something I'm like, how do I, ooh, there's a cut there. What should I do with that? And then I'll
Yeah.
look at the manual and it'll say whatever bandage or whatever.
That's funny because I have 2 dog first aid kits in my car
Yes.
and no human one.
But you can use some of those
You're
for yourself.
totally it's got a
There's
cute
some of
dog on
those
the
that are
cover. Yeah.
crossing. We won't go into too much detail about the first aid kits, because we'll give you info on that in the show notes.
Yes.
Because the AKC has a list, the American Red Cross has a list of
Mhm.
things that you could put in there. So we'll leave that to that, so we don't frighten
Excellent.
you
Yeah.
too much with all this stuff in
We'll
there.
just be listing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about crates. A great tip that I keep talking about my neighbor Marlon. He passed away sadly,
Oh,
but he was our neighborhood disaster preparedness person for humans. But he
uh-huh.
also had some materials for pets, and he had his own to-go bags for his cats.
Yes.
So that's who I'm referring to. But he gave me a really good tip about when you're thinking about your pets. Each pet has to have their own crate because you can't be putting a bunch of cats and dogs together, and they should be folding crates
I
so you
love
can
that.
fit them in the car quickly and not worry about trying to get, in my case, 7 crates in the car.
As well as all your stuff
Right,
is. Yeah.
right.
You mentioned that to us when we were prepping for this, and I went, wow, I've always thought my small guy, he has his crate in the car anyway,
Hmm.
and it's already there. But Kiva, who's 60 pounds, I have a big wired crate for her, and that's heavy.
Yeah,
It's really heavy. And I never really thought about if I had to evacuate with her that I would put that in the car. That
yeah,
didn't even dawn on me. So I may invest in a lightweight
yeah.
one, just to have it a nice foldable light one, and he
There's
has
some
his one.
amazing ones. I have a canvas one that they just close with zippers, and they're self-standing,
Oh,
and
that's good. So you don't have to put it
yeah,
together.
and they're mesh, so that I maybe it was $35-$40, but totally worth the peace of mind to have that handy.
Oh, maybe we'll have you take a photo of it and we'll put it on our Instagram
Oh, good
page.
idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be a good one to do there too. Muzzles, and I know this
Hmm.
is a big thing in general. This is a topic that you love to talk about, and we're
Yes.
going to do an episode on it
Yeah.
too. But having a muzzle, that was one of the things that my clients, that how important that is, because you don't know if they're injured or they just have to
Right.
go to get checked up for anything, and the stress that's already there that they're picking up from us and everything else.
Yeah. And I wonder about some evacuation centers if that would be required because I saw photos of this was way back in Katrina, but photos of like large churches where people were sleeping on the ground and the dogs were in the crates next to them, or some of them were on the leash and muzzle. So,
Yeah, yeah. So it's always good to have your own if you think it might make the dog be a bit more comfortable.
yeah,
And we'll definitely talk a little bit
yeah.
more about the comforts of a muzzle, but I think that was a great one as well. And then obviously collars and harnesses, maybe having an extra one of those in the kit too would be a good
Hmm.
idea, just in case you grab the dog really fast and you're in the car.
Yeah.
So, that's it.
Emma, how am I going to get 4 dogs and 3 cats in a car?
See, this is where your planning comes in. So you started thinking about that, right? I'm sure people that have
Oh,
horses and think about
yeah.
this all the time. How are they going to get their horses off the property in the case of?
Yeah.
So it's really thinking about, do you have a neighbor next door that doesn't have maybe a dog? Yeah, that's a hard thing because we're saying this like thinking about what could happen, but in moments like that, what happens,
Yeah. You just do
so
what you got to do.
you just do what you got to
Yeah.
do. If you just shove them all in there and there's no crates and you
Yep.
just pop them all in there, you just do what you do. But I think it's really good. Even now I'm getting a little
Yeah. But you
with,
mentioned doing a practice run, and
yeah,
I think that would be really good.
it would be. Would we do it though? Here's the thing, right? Right, we want to be realistic too. Will we do it?
I'm not going to do a practice run putting all the stuff in car into it,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
think it would be good for me to put the 4 dogs, maybe not the 4 dogs and the 3 cats, but I should practice like
Yes. Yeah.
just in my head. Who goes first? Where do they go? Clip them in.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly. Yeah. And then maybe just do a drive around the block and that's it.
I could do that when the roofers are coming again.
There you go. It's a good time to be out of the house with the dogs. Ah. And it just gets them ready. Even like we say like we're practicing even in the work we do, we're practicing for the situation, but not necessarily in
Yes.
the situation to start off with. So it's the same thing, just getting your brain ready,
Hmm.
like how could I do this and stuff like that.
Yeah. Wait, you turn the page, and I loved
Yeah.
you put this in here, the toys and comfort items,
Oh yes.
and or a familiar blanket. Super smart. Just that whole idea of your pet's on the move and you want to have something that reminds them of home or something to keep them occupied if you do end up at evacuation shelter. And I think having the right piece of bedding is so important for that. A little fleece blanket. I actually there when I had my to-go bags that I've now disassembled because I've used them for other things. But there are emergency preparedness pet blankets that are
Oh.
vacuum sealed, and they're just super soft little fleece blankets. But you buy them vacuum sealed, and they come in like packs of 10, and
Oh,
they're as
interesting.
flat as a pancake.
Oh, that's really cool. I
Yeah,
like that.
and they're super cute. They have like paw prints on them, but. Once you open the vacuum seal,
Oh,
yeah, you got
that's
super
yeah.
cute blankets, but they're no longer packed in that really efficient manner.
That's the thing when you said that you've got into your kit. I even find that with the human
Yeah,
stuff. I'll go, "Oh, we're going on a camping trip. There's the big container of water that's for emergencies, but let's take it because
yeah.
I don't feel like stopping at the store on the way." We have to just keep that in mind, keep it there in that case. And then a little bit about shelters, which we'll get into a little later, because I do want to explain to people what happens behind the scenes if they do have to evacuate with their animals.
Hmm.
But knowing just where your shelter is, or knowing where other shelters are, or thinking about that if you do have to evacuate, where are the shelters that are close to you? And this is animal shelters I'm talking about rather than evacuation centers for the humans. And just know where those are is good, because I'll tell you, the shelters are the place where people are going to donate stuff to.
Hmm.
So that's where you're going to find if you need food, if you need even medicine, there's probably a vet on hand there, where you're going to find shelter for your dog or other animal if you need to some time and you're in a situation where that you can't have the dog with you.
Hmm.
Shelters are set up for that. They're set up for emergencies like that.
So you could drop your dog at the shelter and say, "I'm staying in a hotel, but I'm coming back for my dog."
So I won't say, yeah, that's the way it runs everywhere, but from I've done a little bit of this with evacuation centers for humans where there's a space that's set aside
Hmm.
to keep the dogs and the cats and any small animals you might have.
Yeah.
And they do have to be in crates. So
Yeah.
that's the thing about training your dog, and we'll talk a little bit about that too, is they do have to be in crates, but it's a safe place for them to be. Also, the shelters, if they can make space, they will take your animal.
Oh,
So I
nice.
want you to know what happens behind the scenes, and this makes me a little teary-eyed because I think this is where we'll all work wonderfully together.
Mm.
Is other shelters reach out to the shelters in need
Hmm.
in the surrounding area. So I will tell you for the LA fires, from our point of view up here in Northern California, I think almost every rescue and shelter up here reached out to LA to take their dogs that were already in their shelters that were up for adoption so they could make room for the people who had evacuated for their animals to be able to stay in the shelter.
Yeah.
That always works behind the scenes. So there's a big community that sits behind you all the time and
Mm.
you don't realize it. And I think that's really important to know that they really come together as a group to help out.
Yeah.
Up here, I know we have dogs from LA, we have dogs from San Diego because I believe there was a San Diego shelter that helped with the LA dogs as well. So all that community, they start reaching out. And this happened in Katrina.
Yeah.
Like we had dogs
I
that
remember.
yeah, they traveled all over the country and we ended up having some of those dogs here to help them out as well.
Yeah.
So it's a really good community and it's just like any volunteer organization. It sits in the background until it's needed. Obviously they do their stuff now, but there's that stuff that goes on in the background too, which I think is really important for
Yeah.
everybody to know. And they're the places where people bring donations.
Hmm.
Anything you could possibly want, people will donate.
Yeah.
So if you need something for your animal and you've been evacuated, any sort of supplies go to your shelter, animal shelter, and they probably have it. That's probably been donated to them.
Such a good idea.
Yeah.
I remember, and I can't remember the number, but during the LA fires, Pasadena shelter put up a request for fosters
Hmm.
just to clear out the shelter. And it was like within an hour and a half or something, all the
The
dogs were
dogs were out.
amazing.
Yeah.
So that's something that you could always do to help,
I think
temporary
that's
foster.
I think that's great too,
Mm.
is just to think about all of those things. And if you start and you're already in the organization fostering, then they're going to be reaching out to you first to see
Yeah.
if you can help. And that's important as well. Just know that there already is like a support system that sits in the background. It
Hmm.
does its daily work every day
Yeah.
with animals, but it does have that function as well.
That's great.
So a little bit back then to our planning. So a bit of crate training is always good, right? Just a little training for them to be comfortable with it. Doesn't mean that they have to use a crate
At night
at night
or
or
when you're doing,
anytime.
no, but
Yeah.
just so it's familiar and a positive feeling when they see the crate.
And they'll just go in and they
Mm.
won't have any problems with it. And it's just a little step. It's almost like the muzzle going to the
Yeah.
vet's office, a little less stress if they know how to use it.
Yeah. Love it. Oh, I love your point about you brought up if you have a neighbor who doesn't have pets. But also, if you are gone, if you're like, if there's an earthquake and I'm stuck in San Rafael and can't get home,
Yeah.
making sure that you have a neighbor who has access to your house and could help with your pets. Make sure that neighbor has a key if you lock your house.
Yeah. I've had my neighbors call and say, there's a house fire a block away. We're watching your dogs. Don't worry
Oh,
about it. And
so nice.
I'm usually not far away, but it helps.
But another tip that we got from some animal shelters is to avoid free roaming pets. And there's not a lot of us these days that just open the door and let the dog out. But I think there are plenty of cats in my neighborhood that are free roaming cats.
Yeah.
And you might think about during certain times of year, during fire danger season, keeping your cat close because that would be really hard if you had to evacuate and couldn't find your cat. Or if you lived out in the country and you did have a dog who had free access.
Mhm.
So,
That reminds me of the other part that I want to talk about what happens behind the scenes.
hmm,
And this happened in LA. I know it's happened up here when we've had the fires up in Santa Rosa and up further north. Is there's also these groups that are amazing
yeah,
that come in and actually they get the okay from the fire department to go into the area and they're looking for animals that have survived.
yeah,
So they put out water, they put out food, and they just keep moving through the area every day. And
hmm,
then there's also a time where people are saying, I'm missing my cat, I'm missing my dog, and they can go check those areas
yeah,
and they find animals.
yeah,
Especially like you said, if a cat is out and about, they might be able to move around enough
yeah,
to avoid stuff and then come back. But they do find animals like dogs that are just roaming around up in
hmm,
Santa Rosa. That happened. There
yeah,
was a few dogs that definitely food bowls were put out every day because there was sightings of them and then they
hmm.
were able to just monitor that and
Oh,
eventually get them.
did you
So
see that video of, I think the person was gone for 2 weeks in Santa Rosa before they could get back in because a
uh-huh.
lot of times for safety, the area is closed off.
Yes,
And,
yes.
and the person came back and the dog ran up the driveway. Oh,
Oh
so beautiful.
yeah.
But yeah, it was in that case, it was the first responders had been putting out food and water because the person said I didn't get my dog.
Yeah, and
He lived.
obviously the firefighters will do that. They'll pick up the dogs as well, or
Yeah.
the cats if they see an animal. I've seen plenty of footage of that even down in LA,
Yeah.
where they will do that as well. But just knowing that there's also organizations that do that as
Hmm.
well. That's their function, is to go in there afterwards. And I know locally here, some of the rescues and the shelters did that.
Hmm.
They got the okay and they went in and started searching to
Yeah.
see if they could find any animals. It's a hard thing to get ready for and think about it, and hard thing to get ready for because it is close to home for a lot of us. We all know somebody that has been affected by wildfires or hurricanes or just any
The
natural
floods. Yeah.
disaster. Yeah. And we just wanted to take the time. We thought it was important to be just thinking about setting ourselves up for these situations if they happen.
Yeah.
All things go out the door when you're in that emergency mode, but just having a little bit of prep.
Yeah. One backpack,
Hmm.
just with some food, water, basics. I think that would be a good goal.
Good. And I don't even have that yet. So we are going to encourage each other
Yes.
to accountability buddies as we are for other things. And just say to you by the next episode that
Yeah.
we have our bags together.
Yeah.
And you can let us know too on our Instagram.
I love it. And one final thought, my neighbor who helped me to prepare my to-go bag made the point of keeping it in the house in an accessible place,
Hmm.
because you're not going to have time to go dig through your shed or garage.
Yeah.
And if it is an earthquake, you might not even have access to that. So I just had mine in the hall closet until I disassembled it. But thinking about setting it that somewhere easy to grab.
Hmm. Sounds good.
Yeah. And
That's
hopefully you
it.
never need it.
Yes, that's it. All right, you guys, until next time.
Stay safe.
Thanks for tuning in today, and hope you'll join us for our next episode. You can reach Emma at ecdogtraining.com or on Instagram at ecdog_training, and Kirsten at kwhappydogs.com or on Facebook at kwhappydogs. Don't forget to hit subscribe. See you next time.